Hey everyone, it's time for another review. We got Ninja Edge yesterday on the Final Fantasy IV banner. It's the continuation of the Final Fantasy IV series. Banners, we got Kane and Rydia, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, but Ninja Edge, he's a dud, let's be honest. He's Lightning Tullian basically. Very boring kit, we'll get to that. But before we start the review, I do want to mention that if you've watched my reviews in the past, a lot of things have changed. One of the things I wanted to do, not because people complain about it or anything, it's just basically, for work I do a lot of PowerPoint presentations, which is the usual at HR. And at some point I was like, dude, my presentations are so bad, I should fix them. Nothing was streamlined, anything went, nothing was consistent. So the goal for this new format you're about to see is A, consistency, B, streamlining, and C, making it a bit shorter but not lose any information. So keeping the quality while reducing bloat basically. And I'll get to another point because there are ratings at the end of this video. And I'll get to that once we get there. I'll explain what this entails and what my plans are when we get there. So without further ado, let's start the Ninja Edge review. It's all new, like I said. So in the overview, we've got Ninja Edge. He's an SLB unit, so he does not have a Brave Shift. He is a Lightning Breaker and SLB Chainer. And I also put down some example abilities, which I will always do if it's anything cool about Grandis or so. I will always display them there. Now sadly the wiki wasn't updated at the time of making this video, basically 2 PM today when you're watching this video on this very Friday. So it's Japanese names only, but I think you get the gist. The first one, Misete Yarose E. I don't know why, Yarose. I think they just prolonged the Z at the end. But anyway, it's the English name means I'll show you basically. Yeah. Is an 85 break, 88% defense and spirit break for 3 turns, single enemy only though, huge downside. But yeah, it increases physical modifiers by 50x, except the limit burst, which would have been cool. Also increases fire resistance, nice, but who needs it? And the other ones, I mean, it's a 30% lightning amp. At least it's a 300% attack buff, so that's not the stupid 280s anymore. And the last one is an LB fill, LB boost, and another 50x modifiers for infinite turns, which cannot be dispelled. As for the abilities, I picked out a few ones here. His Kai abilities for fire, Katon and Raijin. Basically 68 fire and lightning damage respectively, with 120 fire imperil and 130 lightning imperil, which is good, all things considered. He also has his Suiton Kai, which is his water attack, but it's the weakest one at 52x modifier and 120 imperil to water. He can also escape battle, which is maybe a neat gimmick, but his actual breaks are bad. As you can see, 75% and 80% break on demand breaks. That's like, come on. And the worst thing about these breaks is the 80% breaks are single target only. Like, who makes up this stuff? That's so dumb. He's a dedicated breaker, but his actual breaks are on a single use Grandis that last less turns than what Cacteria does, for example. And Cacteria has huge breaks on demand with her limit burst, so, or 85 breaks on her cooldown. So in terms of breaking, Ninja Edge is really bad compared to Cacteria. On the passive side of things, he gains 500 static attack. He has innate 6x cap because he's a true dual wield unit, meaning his DPS is significantly worse than any other unit in the game basically that can build for true double hand. He also has 150 Reaper Killer innately and 200% Insect Killer innately, which is nice. The Limit Burst, the Limit Burst is an 87 break, 3 turns, all enemies, at least something. It's on par with Cacteria, the break that is. But yeah, he's missing that 85 break somewhere else, and being on a single ground is kind of dumb. The Limit Burst in itself is pretty good though. It's a 140 Lightning Imperil baseline, so even if you have him at EX0, he at least does something, right? It's also a 140% Insect Killer for the entire party, but the damage it suffers, it's only a 135x. The SLB is pretty much the same thing, but instead of being a single hit, which the LB is, it's 27 hits, meaning there should be probably Bolting Strike, I haven't checked. But the Lightning Imperil increases to 145, the Insect Killer increases to 160, and the LB damage Lightning Physical increases to 230. I would have preferred just straight up doubling it to 70, would have made a huge difference, but alas. Let's check out the TMR, STMR and Vision card. TMR, it's an ability just like Tulian basically. You get the full break 85% for 3 turns, it's for debuffers only though, and a 130% Lightning Imperil, which he already has in his kit, but again, you can use this on any other unit that has the debuff attack, which is the purple arrow pointing downwards. And yeah, it's nice. The Super Trust Master is a one-hit katana 0.15 to 1.25x variance, which is already the new variance. It has 198 attack, 150 defense and magic alike. It provides 20 passive provoke and evasion, nice. And it also enables one active ability, which allows you to target a single ally to give them 100% defense and 30% physical mitigation for 4 turns. It's a neat gimmick, but in Dark Visions, which this unit ultimately will end up be used for, it's whatever. You're not supposed to take damage in Dark Visions. The Vision card, at level 10 you gain 70 base attack and 70 base magic. The passives are a little bit different from usual series cards. This one has 25% attack magic on 4. 7 and 10 are locked to debuffers only, 100% human killer, physical magical, which is cool, and 100% LB damage. Now this card, it technically could be cool for someone like Angela, but being the super low base magic value, I don't see it being used, especially with Angela being true double hand, and the loss of about 40 base mag is just too great to be able to offset with these nice bonuses. Especially when you consider you can just use things like Chao's STMR, but it has to be seen, honestly. So overall, verdict on this is the TMR is too niche due to the debuffer lock. The STMR is another good option for passive provoke evasion units, and the Vision card is also too niche for it being used widely, honestly. And the low base stats make this a rather bad card in general. So let's get to the damage calculations. As always, if this is a lot of text, so feel free to pause the video for a moment here and go through all of this. I'd like to point out I made the baseline Imperil now 145 lightning, so a unit such as Esther is going to have the leg up with this. This is the Ninja Edge build I'm using. I tried building him for true double hand. It's not worth it, trust me. He has absolutely no passives. His 6x cap is tied to being dual wielding, so yeah, not worth it. Alright, and yeah, this is the damage he can deal. He is at the very bottom of this list. So he's worse than Zidane and Hawkeye, which are ancient units. He's even worse than Olivera, and that's something to behold in my opinion. Barely better than Paws and Lena. Yeah, and just to make things worse, he's only a 32% of Esther's damage, so less than a third. Thumbs up. And yeah, an overall verdict, so meaning there is no how does he fare in the meta, how should you pull. This is the replacement. So the good things about him, the 145 in peril on his SLB and the 160% AoE insect killer. Those may be coming in handy. He also has 2 stacks of Mirage for the entire party, and the STMR is rather good. The bad things though, he absolutely has no weapon in peril. He could have had one for katanas. I mean, Tulian has a weapon in peril, why can't Ninja Edge? Super low tier damage for a high pity cost, 42k. They're just asking too much in my opinion for a bad unit such as this. Should have been 32k at best. Even truth be told, this should have been the same pity cost as with what's her name, Riku from Final Fantasy X. This should have been exactly the same because the unit is bad and I don't know. 88% break on single use grounders, single target only, that's really weak, and worse breaking in Cacteria with less or worse party support, and division card plain bad in my opinion, and it's just too niche. So with all things considered, I'm giving Ninja Edge a 4 out of 10 based on my ratings. I will have a separate video where I explain how these ratings form and how they are calculated, because I came up with a rather clever solution where I'm baselining this on, so basically every unit starts at 5 out of 10, and then there's 5 modifiers, so to say, or 5 criterias that get you up to 10 out of 10, and 5 that get you to 0 out of 10. Most of the time, no unit will end up at 0 because there's at least something that they are good at, meaning it will end up being at least 1 out of 10. But again, I will make a separate video on that, which will be on my or on the same video that I'll be showcasing my new damage spreadsheet. And the ratings are there for a reason, because the new spreadsheet will also list all the unit ratings, meaning you can filter by these ratings. They are a lot better than other ratings that have been around so far. They have more oomph, they have more saying power, they're just more meaningful, and they are standardized along all things considered. So that's the goal I had for this rating system. It's very elegant, it's really good, and I feel like it will allow for a much more accurate representation of what each unit can do or can't do. But yeah, the verdict for Ninja Edge basically is, he's a bad unit to use Lapis on. He's just here to dilute the NV pool and doesn't do anything other than increasing Kane's and Aster's damage with his SLB. Now technically that's a good thing, but truth be told, we also have Dorgan. Dorgan deals way more damage and does basically the same thing, just without the breaks, and for breaks we have better units. So this is an easy skip. And that's the end of the review. Thank you all for watching. I hope you like this new format for my reviews. Things will change a little bit, the damage calculation stuff. I will adjust this once I have my new spreadsheet up and running. I hope to get it done on this very weekend, but depending on how troublesome and how hard all of these things get, because I'm also incorporating the new variance formula, etc, etc. So there's a lot of things to do. I hope to get it done by the end of this weekend. We'll see. We'll see. The winner gets tea. But thanks for watching again. And yeah, see you again soon, hopefully. Bye bye.